Hey there everybody, it's Sita Huber here from Mind Body IQ, and we're going to do some cooking. So I'm preparing a recipe for the mindful detox. So this is my salmon and hemp patties with Brussels sprouts, and this is such an easy recipe. So what I don't want to do is give you guys things that are hard to do, and I know that you see lots of beautiful pictures of delicious mouth-watering foods on Instagram and you're like, oh my god, I wish I had that, but we can't Uber Eat this stuff to ourselves, so we got to cook it, and so we got to have quick recipes up our sleeves. Honestly, this is like, oh, hello kitty, George. He's gonna keep doing that because I think he smells the salmon. So we got to have these quick, no fuss recipes, and this is something, it's honestly, once we start cooking, it's gonna take 10-15 minutes from start to finish, and then there's barely any cleanup because we're gonna do it all in one pan. So that's something that I love to offer you guys, is really quick solutions, because I know that time becomes a barrier, energy becomes a barrier, money becomes a barrier, not having complicated ingredients that are hard to source, also something that's really important. So Brussels sprouts are one of my favorite vegetables. They're part of the brassica family. Brassicas are really good for your liver and for your hormones. So they contain indole 3-carbinol, and they also, which is great for estrogen clearance and estrogen balance. It's also anti-cancerous. So Brussels sprouts, bok choy, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, rocket, all of those foods are ones that you want to have as much of in your diet as you can. So the mindful detox is mostly plant-based, but then we're using our proteins and animal foods in the highest quality for their nutrient density. So protein's really important, and amino acids are really important for mood and for your brain function, for your immune function, and for liver detoxification. So low protein detox doesn't really cut it. While we can do like a fasting exercise or something like that for a short period of time, and we go into a state of autophagy, which is basically where the body kills off its own cells. That's a specific, different kind of thing. And that can be, done later with guidance, so I can guide people on that. But the first thing I want you guys to do is balance your blood sugar. And we're gonna do that by using protein and fats and fiber to help to balance out each of your meals. So I don't want you guys to go hungry. During the 10-day mindful detox, you guys are gonna have an option to do a 1 to 3 day soup cleanse in the middle part of it. So after we've sort of got you off sugar and just balanced you a little bit, then we'll go into this sort of deeper cleansing option if you guys want to. But then we go back to this more nourishing, really clean, really blood sugar balancing and anti-inflammatory way of eating. So Brussels sprouts and salmon, anti-inflammatory. These are great for your liver, great for your blood sugar, great for your skin. Very simple. I'm going to use some of this cashew cheese. So rather than making it, which is of course a little bit time consuming, there's a recipe on my website, mindbodyiq.com.au. You can go and make some cashew cheese, and it's really easy and such a great staple to have. But we've got a beautiful company here in Melbourne called Botanical Cuisine, and they make this very incredible selection of fermented, very healthy, clean, made with real olive oil. You can see the olive oil on the top there. Once you put that in the fridge, it actually gets hard. But so there's no bad fats in here. There's no industrial oils or vegetable oils or any of that stuff. It's all pure, good ingredients. I can actually read you. Oh, I think it's on the bottom. The ingredients are cashews, I know that, activated raw cashew, spring water, olive oil, pink lake salt, culture. So there's some bacteria in it. That's it. So anyways, this is gonna help us sort of just give it, like I buy a jar of this and I use it in a heap of recipes. I usually sort of cut it down with a little bit more olive oil or coconut cream or coconut yogurt even. So depending, or even you can use it with like a little bit of red wine vinegar and sort of make a little bit of a tangy, creamy ranch style dressing. So this is worth the $10. It's, such a great staple. We're gonna use about a tablespoon of that. So what I'm gonna get doing is get chopping while we're talking here. So I just like to take the ends off the Brussels sprouts and then cut them in half. Not sure what happened there. Cut them in half, so just that way, and then just start to finely slice them across. So just so they're about that sort of size. You can just do this really roughly. Any of these leaves that fall off, you really want to keep those, because once they sort of fry in a little bit of butter or oil, they become very crispy and just provide that sort of nice little texture. This end is actually fine on that one, so I'm not even going to cut that off. And just chopping these along. So it's really nice. I think a lot of people are used to eating like Brussels sprouts steamed, and they sort of have, you can smell a lot of the sulfur when you steam them, and it's not really, I mean, I'll eat Brussels sprouts anyway, but that's not my favorite way. I really like roasting them, so I would just cut them in half and let some of these leaves fall off and just do it like that, and then roast them in the oven. So if I'm, usually I've got sort of stovetop dishes and then I've got oven dishes. I don't like to sort of like have it all going on at the same time, because unless you're doing a big family cook-up or something where you you want to do something more complicated. Just for every day, I only want to do one pan on the stove or one pan in the oven. So I would usually do the roasted Brussels sprouts with some roast chicken or something. So that end, I'm gonna just chop that off. You just don't want to waste, like those ends, there's nothing wrong with them. A little bit more fiber, a little bit more crunch. You sort of, when you're cutting Brussels sprouts, want to look out for any bugs that may have nestled in. I usually just sort of pick those parts out and just don't think about it too much. It's a little bit of a hole there. Probably just a little bit dusty inside that one, but I don't see any critters, so I'll just keep going. Extra protein. Okay, so there's a little pile. It's probably, I don't know, a cup, 3/4 of a cup altogether. And I think I did about 6 or 7 or something like that. So that is plenty. It probably wasn't that many. Now, those are ready to go. So what we're gonna do here is just grab a bowl, and I've already drained the liquid out of this wild Alaskan salmon. So this is the one that I buy from Aldi. It's about $2.50. So that's amazing for salmon, which is quite expensive fresh. I do prefer it fresh, but it is a lot harder to source. And so I would much rather be having wild fish than, yes, kitty, wild fish than farmed fish. So I always want to buy, I'd rather have the canned wild than the farmed fresh. However, if I am out for dinner or if I'm with people or something else, then I'm not going to be a total fussy pants and say I won't eat that. So usually, I mean, I would definitely eat it if I was out, but when I buy my own food, that's when I have full control. So I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of this cashew cheese into the salmon. I just find that the canned salmon is a little bit fishy, obviously. So I'm just going to mash this together. Honestly, I just invented this because I'm lazy, but it's become the kind of thing that I can have this on hand, I can have canned salmon on hand. I've got a vegetable like Brussels sprouts. It lasts for quite a while, so that's really good. These can be your like last things in the fridge, that sort of meal when you're like, what is there? I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds. Done this a few times, so it's about that many. And I'm just going to mix this together. So instead of using flour, instead of breadcrumbs or bread, sort of junk ingredients that don't mean anything and we just do for texture, I'm adding these hemp seeds, and once that's all mixed in, it's just those little seeds that they're kind of buttery like macadamias, and so they'll give the edges of the patties a little bit of crispiness. they'll just sort of hold the whole thing together. So we've got that paste. We don't need to add egg or anything like that, because this is it's actually quite wet and mushy. So once I sort of form these into patties, like, the hands will be a mess. So before I do that, I'll just add a little bit of lemon juice. So just a squeeze. You can add more lemon, obviously, after this is all done. I love the smell of lemon zest. Just beautiful. One of my favorite flavors. I think I'm more a lemon than a chocolate person, but I mean, you gotta have both, right? Okay, so a little touch of salt. Oh, I better turn this pan on too. Front one on. Okay, let that heat up. A little bit of Murray River salt, so I'm fairly generous with my salt. This is my absolute favorite salt. It is full of all kinds of other minerals, not just sodium, and it has this beautiful, if you look up the Murray River Instagram page, there just the pictures of where the salt comes from here in Australia are in the Murray River, obviously, it's such a beautiful place. Pretty unbelievable. So salt is actually something that once you start eating clean and, you know, doing something like the mindful detox, you absolutely need to add salt to your food, because if you don't add salt, you're not going to get salt. Most of our dietary guidelines that have told us that salt is bad are sort of based off of a processed food diet, where we start to eat sort of more packaged foods and breads and pre-made cereals and pre-made this, that, or the other. And a lot of our salt, because there was so much salt put into those packaged foods, that's why we had to be sort of given these guidelines to eat less salt. But as soon as you start eating real food again, and if you're eating clean food, you're managing your ingredients and you know what's in stuff, all of a sudden you can add salt back in. And salt is actually very, very important for us. So we have a sodium potassium pump in our cells, and this is really important for electrical conduction, for our hydration, and just for a full balance throughout the body. It's obviously an electrolyte, it's essential, and I encourage people to eat more salt as soon as they start eating in this clean way, and especially if you're eating low carb. The negative benefits, or the negative actions that have been associated with salt are actually negligible once you start reducing your sugar and carbohydrates. So salt's bad when you have high sugar in your diet. Very interesting book, The Salt Fix, that you can look into that more. All right, so we're gonna be frying. So I do fry a lot of my food. So that salmon's gonna hang on for 1 sec. I like my butter, so I'm going to be frying my Brussels sprouts in a little bit of butter, and then I'm going to be frying the salmon patty in the same pan after in a little bit of olive oil. So just about that much butter into the pan. And I've got a spatula ready to go. So Brussels sprouts in. So cooking your foods with fat actually helps to increase the nutrient absorption. So it's not just the fat-soluble vitamins that, you know, you have to have fats to be able to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins. So A, D, E, and K, those are all really important to have fats present. So eating a low-fat diet, you're going to be missing out on those vitamins. But also all of the antioxidants and all of the phytonutrients, which are the sort of special secret plant nutrients that are in our vegetables, those are going to be better absorbed when fat is present as well. So many benefits to just adding that tablespoon of butter with the Brussels sprouts. First of all, we get better flavor. Second of all, we're increasing the absorption of the fat-soluble nutrients, A, D, E, and K, if those are in there. And then we're also increasing all of the antioxidant and phytonutrient uptake just by having that fat present. Plus, the fourth thing is that we're balancing our blood sugar. So when we eat fats, we switch on our satiety hormone, and which is leptin. And leptin is really, really important for us to feel full and satisfied and to switch off hunger. So many people are hungry after they eat, and they've only just eaten a meal and it seemed like a big meal, and then they're hungry again, you know, half an hour later, and they're wondering what's wrong with them. And the problem is, it's not that there's something wrong with them or with their motivation or appetite control. It's deeper than that. It's actually at this hormone base level. And so many people are eating so many carbohydrates and so many high carbohydrate meals that are low in fat and low in protein. And so we're not actually switching on our satiety hormone. Better check on these, which is leptin. So in the mindful detox, we're focusing on this protein, fiber, and fat combination. And we want to have protein, fiber, and fat with each of our meals. So we're getting fiber here from our Brussels sprouts. All vegetables have fiber, so they've got plant fiber in them. We've also got fiber from our hemp seeds, then we've got protein from the hemp seeds and the salmon, and then we've also got fats from the hemp seeds, the salmon, the butter, and the olive oil. So it's kind of like, I mean, we've only really used 3 key ingredients, 4 ingredients if you count the cashew cheese, olive oil, lemon. It's such a basic meal, but we're just gonna be eating, so I'm gonna saute these Brussels sprouts, and then we'll be frying the salmon patties, and that's our meal. But you'll be surprised, because we've added fats to the vegetable, they're gonna be so much more filling. So those are coming up really nicely. So I'm actually going to form these patties, and because I've got a fairly big frying pan there, I might just do this in 2 big ones. So just sort of forming that into a sticky ball, a little bit of shape to it. Pop that there, and I'll just do one more. Keep it simple. Yeah, but because we're adding fats to the vegetables, and we're adding fats to, you know, we normally eat fish and we call it a light meal. I don't even worry about the word light. You know, like, that word doesn't make sense to me, because if we want to be full, why do we want to eat something light? Being full is the way to not overeat. It's the only way to not be hungry half an hour later or have a sugar craving, or and all of those are signs that our blood sugar's out of balance. All right, so we've got those 2 patties. I'm just gonna rinse my hands. Hello, George. George wants our salmon patties. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is just scooch over those Brussels sprouts, which are nearly done. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. You can cook with it, because if it's extra virgin, cold pressed, you know, high quality olive oil, olive juice, then it's got so many antioxidants in it, so it actually protects itself while it's cooking. All right, so we've got our 2 patties frying in the oil there. We've got George crying like he wants some of this dinner, but it's not for him. And it's actually morning, so this is going to be a lunch for me after. Yeah, so you can cook with olive oil, and gosh, I wish that we could honestly like replace all of the deep fryers of all the potato chips around the world, French fries and that sort of thing, and just be cooking with olive oil, because it would really improve our health. It's such a worry. The vegetable oils that we're eating are, they're just so damaged, and then that damaged fat becomes damaged fat within our own cell. And those links between those damaged industrial vegetable oils and cottonseed oils and safflower, canola, all those kind of oils, and Alzheimer's, as well as cancers and lots of diseases. So I really, you know, it's a huge priority to get those fats out of our diet and start eating better fats, like just real butter. Doesn't clog up your arteries, Do you guys know that it's sugar that causes high cholesterol? So when we have high sugar in the diet, it's just this irritant. Something to explain, I could explain it more, but I do that sort of in the programs. But basically, just think of sugar like an irritant in your blood. So your blood can only really manage about a teaspoon of sugar in the blood at a time. And if you've got a high sugar intake, so you say that you've just had a piece of cake and a soft drink or something, then, or a big plate of pasta, then all of a sudden you've got all this extra blood sugar, and this blood sugar actually becomes an irritant within the vessels. And then because those blood vessels are being damaged by this irritant, then the body produces more cholesterol to plaque up the arteries. So this is a theory that's taken years and years to sort of undo the old theory that was hypothesized about fats, thinking that because something's fatty that it actually clogs up your artery. It's just not how the body works. The body doesn't do that with fats. The fats become part of hormones and different cells. Okay, so I love talking about this stuff. Anyway, so that's nicely cooked, just a little bit golden. I can do it. Okay, so I'm just flipping those over. I'm gonna go and grab these Brussels sprouts here. They look delicious, and all the little bits have actually become a little bit more brown and crispy, which is really nice. And one thing I forgot to do, I actually sometimes just chop a little bit of apple and put a little bit of apple in with the Brussels sprouts, just fried through. Gives you a little bit of sweetness with that bitterness of the Brussels sprout, and it's really, really beautiful and delicious. So seriously, how quick is this meal? And really no real effort. I love how easy this is. Because it's canned salmon. Because it's canned salmon as well, like we really don't need to cook it too much. It's already sort of pre-cooked. So we're mostly frying it off just to get that nice little crispiness of the hemp seeds and just sort of give it a little bit of texture. So there's our Brussels sprouts. Smell delicious. If you haven't tried Brussels sprouts this way, you have to. And I mean, a vegetable like this, you can eat it a few times a week at least. It's just so good for you. Okay, let me see. Yes, these are great. All right, so burner off. These are done. Ta-da! Okay, so this is for the mindful detox. This is one of our recipes. This is salmon and hemp patties with Brussels sprouts. And there is a whole recipe book for you guys. So doing the detox. So there's different meals for every single day. However, if you get lazy, why not just make this, 4 nights out of 7 or 5 nights out of 10, whatever you want to do. So the meal plan is designed that because it's got the right balance, we're balancing your blood sugar, we're reducing inflammation. This is really easy, so we can all do it. It's been 23 minutes that we've been on here, and that's with me talking and taking my time, not doing things as quick as I could have. So anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Very fun cooking for you, and I will be sharing more recipes soon. And if you guys want to check out the Mindful Detox, you can go to mindbodyiq.com.au. I'm launching the first guided one, but do get in touch if you can't make it for this one. The registrations close on Saturday because I'm going to start sharing all of the content and recipes with you. But otherwise, you'll still be able to do the detox not guided. Anyways, thanks for watching, sending lots of love, and hope you guys all enjoyed learning, and hope you try the recipe and tag me in a picture and let me know what you think. Bye.